Yeah, I got it. Thank you. We got it, guys. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Booth. I gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, copy. Who? And this is a pursuit that's been going on for quite a bit because we believe it may have actually started in Ontario. At this point, we believe it may be a stolen car, but we're still working to confirm that with police. But where we're at, as you said, is in Whittier. We're actually right next to Rose Hill Cemetery and the 605 freeway. And this driver was on the 60 West and then transitioned onto the 605 South before exiting onto surface streets here near the cemetery. And he's been working surface streets here ever since. You can see that police are close behind. There's also a sheriff's ship overhead, as well as Ontario police that continue to chase this individual in what looks to be an older model pickup. Yeah, it's been a dangerous one because he's actually on the wrong side of the road right now on a major street here, which is Workman Mill Road, which again is going to be right next to Rose Hill Cemetery. And he's not on the wrong side of the road because there's traffic, because there really isn't traffic in this area. He's just driving on the wrong side of the road because he's a crazy driver. During the time that we've been overhead, we've seen lots of close calls already, and it really hasn't been very many minutes during that time. But Workman Mill Road continuing here in Whittier, wrong side of the road, going to try to dodge some of these vehicles here so that he doesn't crash into them. But again, at this point, we believe it's Ontario police that's behind him, and there's 2 police ships overhead. Yeah, so let me widen out the shot so we can see if there's still... Actually, it looks like they're giving him at least a little bit of room. So either they're going into surveillance mode, or those officers had to fall back a little bit when he was driving on the wrong side of the road. But they should be able to catch up soon. But still wrong side of the road here. These are very close calls here. Just on the other side of that tree there, you'll notice the pickup. Oh, there's a motorcyclist. And I don't believe he hit him, but I couldn't see because of the tree. But still continuing wrong side of the road, right under us, Beverly Boulevard at Floral Drive in Whittier. It's about our 2 o'clock, Jim. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, exactly. At least if the officers are right behind him, then other motorists will know that this is a pursuit and to try to avoid this guy and just move out of the way. But when there isn't any ground crews behind him, you just think that this guy's out of his mind and just driving on the wrong side of the road, not knowing that this is an individual that police are in pursuit of. Very fast for surface streets, about freeway speeds, really. I mean, at this point in the day on a Friday night, this is a lot faster than what you'd see on any of our local freeways, which might be why he got off that 605 South. And I'm just looking inside. I want to see if there's more than one person, because there might be. I feel like I do see a passenger, perhaps somebody wearing like a red shirt. But if I get a better chance to check again, then we can try to confirm that. But at this point, unknown number of occupants in this older model pickup believed to be stolen out of Ontario. Yeah, there's all sorts of things back there. So this very well could have been somebody's work truck, but it's unknown how long the driver has been driving this vehicle. Sometimes people will literally be in a pursuit minutes after it's stolen, but sometimes they hold on to these cars for a while and then almost drive it as if it's theirs. They forget that they stole it, and then eventually police try to pull them over, and then that's when they flee. But in this case, it does definitely look like it's somebody's work truck. I see what looks like wood in the back, perhaps even some tools. So hopefully the rightful owner will get everything back in its proper condition. But at this point, still a fast-moving chase here through the streets of Whittier. Yeah, it's really hard to tell, but I almost thought I did see what looked like a person in the passenger seat, but of course we'll try to confirm that when we come around. I believe the window's actually even down on that side, so that'll make it a little bit easier for me to check. The rest of the windows look like they're tinted, so won't be able to peek in through there, but older model pickup, so it's, it's going to have its limitations, and police I believe, are still in what we would call surveillance mode because they're not directly behind him. At this point, there's no rhyme or reason to what he's doing, which a lot of the time with these pursuits, drivers tend to return to an area that is familiar to them, and then they'll start doing circles on the same streets, likely because they're just looking for a place to ditch the car and take off running. But in this case, the pursuit actually started all the way in the IE. It started in Ontario, so I would venture to say that this guy is lost and just trying to find his way back to the freeway, which in this case, if he's trying to get back to Ontario, he has to hop on that 605 North and then try to pick up the 60 East or even the 10 West, or 10 East rather. Absolutely, yeah. Such a dangerous chase. Yeah, absolutely. At the time of day that it is right now on a Friday, there could be children, there could be pedestrians, you name it, bicyclists. And so that's really the concern whenever a chase is on the surface streets in a city versus on the freeway. At least if you're on the freeway, it takes all those elements out of the equation. But in this case, right, I'm sure he hit that car. He had to have hit that car. That was such a close call if he didn't hit it. But again, surface streets here in Whittier. Right behind us, Jim. On Whittier Boulevard. Yeah, and I don't know if he is doing this because he realizes that the police can't chase him if he's on the wrong side of the road, but they're nowhere near him. They're trying to give him room so that he'll think he isn't being pursued. But look at this. There's going to be a head-on collision if he continues driving this way. So he's on Whittier Boulevard, just coming under the bridge there. Across is going to be Washington there. So major streets here through the area. We're not far from the 605 freeway still, though, if he has any intent of getting back on the freeway. Absolutely. There's no reason for this. You would understand if there was traffic, and that's what he was trying to avoid. But for the most part, it isn't. It just seems like it's very intentional. And I think he might be dragging something now, so we might see some sparks flying depending on what it is. So looks like something that he had in the back is dragging, and there we go. I'm starting to see a little bit of what looks like smoke there from whatever is now hanging off the back of the truck. Yeah, at this point, let me widen out as much as I can without losing him. But yeah, I can see at least a good quarter mile behind him, and we're not seeing anyone. Yeah, they're in standard tracking mode, so helicopters only. Oh, lots of close calls here because he ran the red. So he ran the red to turn left onto Sorensen Avenue from Washington. And going to continue here at high speeds. This will eventually, I think, get us into Santa Fe Springs. So we'll leave Whittier area and get into Santa Fe Springs. Yeah, back on the wrong side of the road. And again, you would understand if he was trying to dodge traffic, but he's not. He's just simply driving on the wrong side of the road because he's an absolutely reckless driver. And he just made that turn there onto Slauson Avenue, which is another major street here through the area. But still not too far from the freeway where he couldn't just turn around and head that way. But again, at this point, no police units behind him, just tracking mode with the helicopters overhead. Yeah, so what they'll typically do is, oh, there you go. We spoke too soon there. The unit was able to close the gap there, and it looks like it's essentially up to the watch commander to go into tracking mode, and they judge it based off of how the person changes their driving. This guy apparently, it didn't work on him. He still continued to drive very recklessly, so they're allowing the units to get back behind him. So we should see those units basically try to trail him the best they can, but they're limited in what they can do because they can't violate the rules of the road the way this driver is doing. So this will still keep them back further than what we typically see in a pursuit. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. And without knowing what street he's going to be on, it makes it really difficult to deploy a successful spike strip because they can't guess where to do it. So that's pretty much out of the question at this point. But what they could try to do is they actually could try to pit. This is a small enough car, and as long as they have a pit-approved unit behind him, then they could try it. My only hesitation with that at this point is that, of course, he's just going too fast, and the roads here in this area are simply too congested. Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, there's the police helicopters overhead, but most drivers wouldn't know to look up into the air and then see them buzzing above to try to put two and two together. So for now, it's just going to be, of course, this reckless driver here making his way through the streets of Norwalk now. I wanted to see how far that unit was. So he's not right on his tail, but he's close behind. Looks like he might be turning onto Florence here. So we are now in Santa Fe Springs, and he tricked me there. He's continuing southbound on Norwalk Boulevard. So this does put him into Santa Fe Springs. And if he continues driving in this direction, it's actually going to put him closer to the 5 freeway because that will be the next freeway that he runs into. So if he has any intent of getting back on the freeway, the 5 is now his best or closest option. But he still has a 605 not too far away. But we'll see what he does. I don't know that this guy even has a plan here in place. I think at this point he's just trying to get away and he'll do whatever it takes. But you see that this police unit really not giving him too much in the way of room now. So all of that room that he had before, that has completely gone away. And now we do have units directly behind as well as 2 police ships overhead. It's going to be Ontario Police as well as the Sheriff's Department from LA County. Yeah, it looks like it's somebody's work truck, which of course is pretty sad when you think about it, that whoever is the rightful owner of this vehicle likely needs it for work. They have other tools in the back. They have wood that they were probably going to use for some sort of project. And unfortunately, whoever's behind the wheel of this car decided they were taking it. And that is when Ontario police officers spotted the stolen vehicle. They tried to pull him over and the pursuit was on. It made its way onto the 60 freeway and then the 605 before he exited on a surface streets where he has been ever since. And we are now entering Norwalk. So we've been in Whittier, we've been in Santa Fe Springs, and now we are in the city of Norwalk. And at this point, it still looks like it's Ontario Police that are directly behind him with a couple of police helicopters overhead. Yeah, they could definitely try a pit because of the size of the vehicle, but my concern at this point is the speeds. So it's the speeds and the congestion here on surface streets in the Norwalk area. And it makes sense that streets are going to be busy at this time. It is a Friday night at 5 o'clock. People are just getting off of work. So the traffic conditions that we've been seeing are only going to continue to get worse. So at this point, those are really the limitations on a pit, is the speed and the congestion. But at least the size of the vehicle is essentially perfect for a pit maneuver. The other concern with an older model car like this is sometimes doing a pit maneuver won't work on them because it doesn't necessarily kill the engine the way that it does in a newer model car. So I have seen pit maneuvers executed on older cars like this, and a lot of the time they don't work. So if it comes to that, we'll figure it out to see if that's possibly what is allowing this driver to continue. But for now, we're in Norwalk. We're on surface streets, Foster Road at Fairford Avenue, so a residential area, homes on either side of the street. A lot of people probably just coming from home from work or school, and this stolen vehicle pursuit making its way through its streets at a fast rate. So at this point, they're going to try to continue to chase from the helicopter because they know that they can at least keep tabs on him and figure out where he goes. But the concern is if they just do helicopter only, other drivers won't really realize that this is a pursuit and won't know to get out of the way. Wow, that was a close call. There were some cars there waiting in the center turn lane, and he had to squeeze between cars, so it was a very close call. So at this point, they're going to continue to chase from the helicopter. Obviously, the ground units can't drive on the wrong side of the road the way he's been doing. So hopefully he doesn't run anyone over or hit. Oh, no. Okay, I'm going to widen out real quick. He was coming so close to that cyclist. Pardon me. It was too close for comfort. I had to widen out. He didn't hit him, fortunately, and is continuing here on Imperial Highway. So at this point, he is headed westbound on Imperial Highway. Imperial Highway, of course, a major street here through the area, and will actually take us all the way to LAX. But it looks like we're not going to get that far because he just made that turn there onto a smaller street called Hoxie Avenue. That was a southbound turn from Imperial. Yeah, that could very well be it. And he's also dragging something that's in the back of the truck. So I can see that there's something hanging that sometimes will have some sparks flying. But it looks like he just got on the freeway. So he got on the, it looks like it's going to be westbound 105 freeway, which is, of course, as I was saying before, that could take us all the way to LAX as well. But we're, of course, not going to get that far. He's off-roading here. He's in the dirt area just off the 105 freeway at Bellflower Boulevard. Really for no apparent reason, because he's got no traffic ahead of him. He could have stayed on the freeway, but he's doing some off-roading here. Officers are very close by. He's probably just going to get stuck, or he's going to overturn here as he continues here. Going to be going down into a ditch. He's going to go down into the wash. So down into the wash. We'll see what this little truck is made out of here as it goes down into the wash and under the freeway. Again, this is going to be the westbound 105 freeway. He's currently under there still. I haven't seen him pop out, so I'll keep a slightly wider shot. And we'll see if he comes out on either the left or right side of the screen, but currently right under the 105. It looks like they're still on the freeway. So they're on the freeway. They're trying to figure out how to get down there. So this officer... NOC back arrow is 175. Okay. Yeah, there very well could be, and there's the car. Okay, so we just came into the other side of the car, other side of the freeway here, so we're on the northbound, or north side of the 105 freeway. He came down and then got stuck, so he's stuck there in the fence, and it's hard to tell, though, if the driver door is open and he is out of the vehicle. But I am hearing a suspect description from the police helicopter, and they have a clothing description for him, which means that he is out of the vehicle, running around in the wash right now. Police are saying he's down there, and they're still trying to take him into custody. At this point, they're only giving a description for one person wearing a white T-shirt, which was what we were seeing before when he was driving, we could see that he was wearing a white T-shirt, so that matches. But at this point, they're not giving a description for a second person. So either that second person is still in the car, or they ran off, or there wasn't a second person. We never got an original want on how many people may have been in the vehicle. But at this point, we are hearing a description for a man wearing a white T-shirt that is running somewhere in the wash, and police are still trying to locate him. Yeah, exactly, because authorities do their due diligence to make sure that everyone is clear of the wash when we're having a big storm like this. Sometimes they'll even come through with the helicopter and make announcements to get people to leave. So technically there shouldn't be anyone down there, but I do see somebody walking here. Yeah, so I do see that. Yeah, he doesn't really match the clothing description. I got him, Jack. Thank you. Yeah, so police are coming to the area. They're going to set up a perimeter to try to locate this guy. I do have somebody walking around here. So what I am hearing is the police chief says that this guy doesn't match the clothing description that they had originally, which was that white T-shirt. But we did see this man walk into the tent, and now he's wearing something different. So it could have been that there were clothes available to him under the bridge that perhaps belonged to an unhoused person, and he was able to switch out real quick. So we'll keep an eye on this, because there's a good chance that he may be in this encampment here, but there are additional encampments under the overpass there. So the original thing that he was wearing was a white T-shirt with a red logo, but the man that we just saw walk out had a black sweatshirt, of course. So they're still trying to figure out if this is who they're looking for. But he just came back out from the looks of it, and may be walking back towards the 105 freeway. So we'll keep an eye on it. Again, this may not be our guy, but just in case, then we'll have eyes on him when police do descend here under the freeway. Correct, yeah. So this started as Ontario Police with a stolen truck. It made its way westbound on the 60 to South 605, and then he exited on a surface streets in the Whittier area, very close to Rose Hills. And he drove through the surface streets there for quite some time at high speeds. It was a really dangerous chase. And then when he got to the 105 freeway, he hopped on for just a moment, and then went off-roading in the dirt, and then went down the side. And here's another car coming out from under the freeway, which is really interesting because there shouldn't be cars down here. So that's interesting that this car would be down here. I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but police are looking at it because they're wondering what this car is doing there too. So the police helicopter is going to follow this car too, and we can keep an eye on it as well. But this is going to be in the Downey area. I'm hearing that Downey police are getting dispatched to the scene now. Yeah, this is definitely not the pickup. The pickup's actually stuck over there. So it's just interesting to police that this car came out of that area because they said there's no reason for that car to be there. But he's pulling up right to a sheriff's deputy and obviously in communication. So we'll see what happens here. Yeah, so that car I think may have come there from that residential area, but what you're seeing here is basically police are descending on the area and they're setting up a perimeter the best they can to surround the area where they last spotted this individual. They obviously have the car. They know the car is stuck there in the wash, stuck on the fence, so it's not going to go anywhere. But what they're going to try to just focus on is all of the individuals who may be under the freeway. A lot of them may be unhoused people, but they'll try to find their person. They know exactly what the guy was wearing, so in all likelihood, he's still wearing it, even though he may have thrown a jacket on. But this is all happening here, westbound side of the 105 freeway at the Bellflower Boulevard exit. So this is a bike trail, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be coming out from under that freeway, which is what makes it so difficult to pinpoint who this guy is out of everyone that we see coming out. But you can see that the sheriff's helicopter is making orbits over the freeway. And the thought process behind that, even if the police helicopter doesn't have eyes on the individual, the guy's going to see the helicopter and he's going to think, hey, if I get out from wherever I'm hiding, they're going to see me. And that does buy police some time to bring out the police canine, to bring in additional officers, to set up that perimeter, and to try to locate him. It's usually based off of scent. So that guy was in the car for a good while, and so his scent is going to be in that vehicle. So they'll take the police canine to the car. He'll be able to sniff around and then basically get a good idea of who he's looking for. And then that's when the search can begin. And of course, it's going to be a very methodical search, but these are specially trained canine. That's exactly what they're trained to do. So they will basically sniff around and try to locate him, or even just locate anything he may have dropped, an article of clothing, for example, and that may help them find this individual. There it is. Okay. motorcycle unit, maybe? Yeah, there we go. They don't know for sure. They're just taking him into custody for now because he's a man in the area of where the car foot bailed. So, and there's one more in the encampment that they're looking at. So basically, any man that matches the description is probably going to be detained. That's in this area. Yeah. Yeah. I figured you couldn't see. Yeah, because... Thanks. It is, yeah. Oh, yeah. The one that crashed? Huh. Huh. Oh. Yeah, exactly. Oh, there you said. Oh, okay, there. Copy that. Okay, copy that. 1 minute out. Okay, you got it. Yeah, they're still here, and they're still trying to confirm if that's the person. They're not sure, because they have their eyes on one other guy too. Copy. They do have this young man detained because he came out from under the freeway, and the clothing that he's wearing does match what they believe the driver was wearing during that pursuit that brought them all the way from Ontario to here to Downey. So you can see him sitting there on the ground next to that officer. They're still going to clear, though, a homeless encampment that is very close to where this pursuit termination occurred, just to make sure that they got their guy. But for now, at least one person detained at the end of this pursuit here in Downey. That's latest here from Downey, a News Shop Report. I'm Lana Moreno. Let's get it back down to you in the studio.
Watch more heart-stopping car chases happening across Southern California. Subscribe here. Thanks for watching. The Chase is on.